today we're going to do a neurologic exam on a horse. You might want to do a neurologic exam on your horse if you noted that they had any changes in their mentation and the way that they were moving, if they were just acting abnormally. Before you do your neurologic exam, you're going to want to do a complete physical exam just to make sure that all of their vital organs are doing okay, that they don't have a fever, that you don't hear increased lung sounds or anything like that. The first thing you're going to want to do when you are looking at your horse that has a neurologic exam is just like with your physical exam. You're going to want to do a complete history. You're going to want to find out, what sort of signs has the horse been exhibiting, how long has it been going on for, has the horse been exposed to new horses, have they traveled anywhere recently, which might give you a little bit of insight into what could possibly be going on. And then from there, you're going to start with the head and move from the front all the way to the back with your hands and with your eyes, and then next you're going to watch the horse move. So we'll start with the head first. The first thing we're going to assess are the horse's cranial nerves. The cranial nerves are 12 different nerves that come from the brain and go to the face and innervate different parts of the face. If you have a problem either in the brain where they come from or along the path as they're traveling to where they go, you might see signs when you're looking at the horse's face. The first thing you're going to want to look at is facial symmetry. Does she carry her head evenly on both sides, and then when you come down to her nostrils, are they even? Is her lip sort of centered? If it was pulled off to the side, or if you noticed her drooping in her eye or on one side of her face, that might indicate that she has a problem with one of her cranial nerves. The next thing that you're going to look at is going to be her eyes. There's a couple different tests that you'll do with her eyes. The first thing that you're going to do is a menace. So, with your hand, you're going to bring it close to the horse's eye without getting too close so that you actually hit her eyelashes, and see if she can blink. So what that means is that she can actually see me, and then she can actually control the blinking of her eye. So you would do that on both sides. You have to be careful not to create too much wind, because the horse can feel that and they can blink, so you're just sort of coming at them kind of quick and stopping. The next thing you're going to do is you want to see, can she actually feel me when I touch her on her eyes? So you're going to take your finger and you're going to touch on the inside and on the outside. Make sure that she blinks. The same thing on that side. And then lastly, you're going to take a pen light, which is just like a little flashlight, and you're going to shine it in her eye. And what I want to see is I want to see that pupil, so that opening in the middle of the colored part, I want to actually see it constrict down when I put the light in, which it does. And then if I can be really fast, I'm going to shine it in this eye and look over in this eye and make sure that this eye is constricting as well. There's a pathway that goes from this eye up to the brain and back down anytime there's a light that constricts both pupils. The last thing that you're going to do is you're going to assess tongue tone. So you're going to reach in and take her tongue, make sure that when I pull it out that she can pull it back in pretty easily, which she did very well. So after you've assessed her cranial nerves, then you're going to start working your way back. The first thing you're going to look at is going to be the horse's neck. So a lot of people think that the horse's cervical vertebrae actually run up here at the top of the neck, but in actuality they start here and sort of drop down and then come underneath the scapula and work their way back up. So I want to take my hands and I want to press on either side and see if I meet any sort of resistance, if she acts uncomfortable, or if I feel any swelling. And then after I've done that, then I want to make sure that Teddy can move her head from side to side. So I'm going to move it that way and that way. And then I want to make sure that she can go up and down comfortably. So as I move my way back, I'm going to palpate the horse and make sure that the muscle on both sides is symmetric all the way back, and then I'm going to look at all of the limbs individually. So I'm going to start with the forelimb, I'm going to run my hand down, make sure that I don't feel any swelling, heat, find any wounds, and then I'm going to pick up the limb and I'm going to put it in an awkward position, so where it wouldn't normally be. What I want to see is I want to see that Teddy is naturally going to step back with her limbs underneath her. In a neurologic horse, you could put that limb out to the side and they would just stand there for a really long time, not recognizing that their limbs weren't in the normal position. So after you have palpated your horse, from the front all the way to the back and then all of the limbs, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to watch the horse move. And this is most of the time going to give you a lot of information, because if a horse is neurologic, you're going to notice that they're off balance, that they sort of don't know where their legs are as they're moving, or their legs are moving abnormally. So the first thing that we're going to do is going to be a circle test. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull the horse in a really tight circle around you. And what you're watching is you're watching the movement of those hind legs. Can that horse, as they're circling, sort of cross that hind leg over? And I'll demonstrate that. So you spin the horse in a small circle. As you can see, Teddy's leg that's closest to me is stepping over that outside leg, which is normal, and she's maintaining her balance while we're doing that. So we'll do it in both directions. If a horse was neurologic, instead of crossing that leg over, a lot of times what they would do is they would actually sort of step the outside leg and then bring the other one to meet it. Step, bring, as opposed to stepping and crossing over. That can indicate that there's something wrong. The next movement test we're going to do is we're going to ask the horse to back up. A horse should be able to back up very easily and maintain their balance. The way to get him to back up is just to put a little bit of pressure on the halter, and then to ask her to back up in a straight line, which she does pretty easily. The next test we're going to do is we're going to elevate Teddy's head and then have her walk forward and see if she can maintain her balance when we take away the use of her eyes and her sort of peripheral vision that she would normally use. So we'll hold her head up and ask her to walk. So she's still taking even steps. If she was a neurologic horse and I lifted her head, she would probably stumble, or her legs, instead of sort of taking nice even strides, would sort of float out in front of her because she's not able to see and she can't sort of judge the ground and where she's stepping, so she steps sort of in an exaggerated motion. The next test we're going to do is called a sway test. We're going to have Adriana walk Teddy away from us, and I'm going to take her tail, and as she's walking I'm going to pull her towards me using her tail. A normal horse should have enough strength that I'll kind of pull them over a little bit, but they're going to maintain their balance and then quickly right themselves again. A horse that's neurologic, when I pull on their tail, they're going to really easily lose their balance and sort of stumble over. So we're going to do it on both sides as we walk away. So pull. She rights herself pretty easily. Pull. Come over to the other side. Pull. Looks good. The last movement test that we're going to do is going to be to watch Teddy as she walks up and down an incline. Again, we're watching to see if any of her movement gets exaggerated, if she's striding out more with her forelimbs, she's getting unbalanced. So we're going to go up. So this is just adding a different stress to the horse. They have to be pretty aware of where their limbs are when they're doing this. So after you have completed your examination of the horse, which includes the cranial nerves, palpating and feeling for any abnormalities in the horse's neck, barrel, and their forelimbs or their hind limbs, and after you've watched them move and do the different tests that we just demonstrated, you're going to sort of try to piece all of the information together and determine, were the forelimbs more affected than the hind limbs, or the hind limbs more affected than the forelimbs? Were you seeing signs on both sides symmetrically, or were they asymmetric? You're going to take all of that information and you're going to determine what further diagnostics you need to do to try to figure out what's going on with your horse. Further diagnostics might include blood work, it might include an x-ray, a myelogram, might include a CSF tap. So lots of different things, and hopefully by doing your neurologic exam, you've given yourself a little bit more information and hopefully narrowed down the location of the neurologic lesion so that you can try and figure out what's going on with your horse. But lucky for us, Teddy is looking very healthy and no signs of neurologic disease, so she can go out and eat grass all day, which is what she wants to do.